All right guys, today we're going to be installing the BRC Counterbalance bottom end into the CR500 steel frame platform. Okay guys, it's been a while since our last upload and we have been busy in the workshop. So we're back and we're going to try and get you as much content as we possibly can. We're going to be, as you know, converting this CR500 to BRC's new counterbalance bottom end. Now it's an amazing bit of technology that they haven't invented, but they've definitely refined and adapted to a whole lot of different platforms. The KTM range, our two-stroke converted YZ500s, all of that stuff has the counterbalance system in it. And it makes them such an amazing bike to ride. I call them the two-stroke, four-stroke. There's a lot of guys out there that love them. I personally love riding my CR500, the steel frame, and this is this bike here. But what we're gonna do, BRC have kindly hooked us up with their counterbalance bottom end, and we're gonna run through the whole process as we're converting it. So we're gonna pull the engine out of this, we're gonna switch it all over, run through the whole process, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're gonna fit it off. And we're actually going to have Mitch Worrell from BCP is going to ride the bike and let us know what he thinks of the conversion. He's ridden a lot of different 500s and he's a very capable rider and a good friend of ours. So it'll be really cool to see what his feedback is on the new platform and what it performs like. So we've got the counterbalance bottom end here. So this is the kit that you're going to get when you order it. We've taken the liberty of icing the cake a little bit more. We've added some fluff to it. We've done some Cerakoting, as you can see, and we've hydroblasted the cases, but you will get them all raw cast with the fantastic machining and everything on it. As you can see, the counterbalance, well, from the side view, it actually looks very similar to a stock CR500 case. However, you can see through here, there's a little bulge, and that's where the counterbalance shaft lives. So that's the extension onto what BRC have manufactured into these cases. Now, if we turn the cases around, you can see on the side that that's the overview. So that's where it is driven. Or no, that's where the actual balance lives. It lives next to the flywheel and the actual driven side is off the crank on this side here. So all in all, this is the cases that you'll get. So it's a little bit different, but it's not too vastly different to what you'll see in a stock engine. When you do pull it off, however, you'll see there is a little bit more going on. One thing we were advised with running this is you have to run a 250 CDI and flywheel. That's because the counterbalance actually takes up a lot more room than the 500's flywheel you can fit. So you have to take this 250 flywheel and you have to reclock it 180 degrees. But we'll get into that when we start building the bike. So that's the cases there. As you can see, they're really nice, beautifully made cases. They're all cast in Italy, I believe, and then all post-machined in Canada. They are absolutely stunning. So it takes a stock crank, gearbox, everything that you will need out of your 500 engine, you pop it in there. Now BRC supplies all the rest of it. Now this is the box that you'll get with the conversion kit. So you'll get the cases and all the covers and everything. He'll also supply you with engine seals, which are really good. They're just generic, same CR500 engine seals. Clutch cable. Now this is 25mm longer because as you can see on the cases, it actually has to go further down to get to the clutch actuation arm. So that's why they supply the longer cable and that's just part of it. We've also got water pump rebuild kit, which is good. You can use your own CR500 bearings, whatever you want to. Kit parts, I'm not even sure what's in the kit parts, but they generally sort of supply, a lot of with the other conversion kits, they'll supply a lot of the unusual seals and stuff like that, spacers for the counterbalance shaft, because you've got to run a secondary gear in there or another gear for it. So there's all that sort of different oil seals and whatnot, circlips and Woodruff keys, which is always handy. So they sort of give you everything that you need to get this completely together and in your bike, which is always good. BRC are fantastic when they do that. They build their kits really, really well. So they even supply bearings. You can use, I know some people get a bit funny about the hot rod stuff. You can use standard bearings if you want. He does supply them because that's just what he does. He supplies a full kit. So there's also, we've got here, we've got the driven gear for the counterbalance shaft. So as you can see, there's a lot of time and effort gone into making this kit. A lot of design work, a lot of CAD work, and a lot of money has gone into producing this, which is absolutely, it's fantastic, like I said, to see guys putting this much effort back into our industry. I'm always happy to support that. And then last but not least, we've got the counterbalance shaft. So this is what is counteracting the vibrations coming out of the actual standard CR500 engine. Now, if you want to, at a later date, we can deep dive into the theories behind counterbalance. We can go into and do a lot more research and find out if there's anything you want to know. I'm not the best when it comes to that sort of stuff, but I do like finding things out. So we can definitely learn and put something together for you guys, and we can explain to you all the theories behind the counterbalance. But essentially what this case system is doing is adding this shaft. So as you can see, this shaft has a weight on the end of it, and it has the driven gear here, which drives off the crank on the right-hand side. And then that counterbalance weight just offsets the engine inertia and takes the vibration out of the engine. So it becomes a lot more usable and a lot more manageable to ride. One thing we did actually find, or they have told us, is that it actually drives and handles a lot better because you're taking that vibration frequency out of the rear shock. So on some of the bikes that they've had these in, they've had to revalve the rear end, but we'll see what that sort of entails when we do ride it. Mitch will give us all the feedback that we need on that. So that's essentially what you're gonna get in this kit, and it's gonna give you everything you need to do to get this balanced shaft bottom end into your steel frame 500 or your converted aluminium frame. We're gonna get into this, we're gonna start pulling this thing down now, pull the engine out of it, and then we'll get into stripping the engine down and having a look at what goes into switching them over. We'll also have a quick look at the comparisons of case shape, because that's one of the biggest things that you'll notice as you build this. So they don't actually sort of interact with the frame at all. It's pretty well packaged, which is nice. Like I said, it's really cool. BRC are one of those companies that put a lot of time and energy into developing not only dirt bike stuff, but they also do snowmobiles, obviously being in Canada. And one of the coolest things I think is they're actually bringing out a conversion kit for the R6 road bike. So you'll be able to buy an R6. I don't know what the conversion kit involves because I stay away from road bikes. It's pretty much going to turn your R6 into a 500cc two-stroke twin, which sort of has that real throwbacks of GP racing, early Rossi days, doing all those sorts of things, which is, a lot of people are pretty excited about that. And I am too. So it'll be really cool to see how that actually comes up. But Riley from BRC is a super cool dude as well. Like I said, he's always open to feedback. He's always sort of really likes to develop and design. He's a creator and a maker, which is something that I know from a smaller scale, if you've seen the stuff that we do with carbon fiber and whatever else, that's something we love as well. You know, 3D scanning things and CAD work and design. It's a massive part of it. You know, like there's a lot of cool little companies, little boutique companies producing stuff for these bikes. And I know a lot of guys say, you know, oh, if it's not original, it's not restored. Well, I don't believe in that. I believe in having parts available to build these bikes and keep them alive. And that's where you've got to sort of look at it. There are a lot of cool dudes though, doing a lot of good restoration stuff. Chad is one of them. It's probably one of the best restored CR500s in the country, if not globally. And he's just done a 99 CR80, which is super cool as well. But yeah, like I said, a lot of this stuff it's just cool to see, right? Like it's just interesting. It's cool to see what people are coming up with. And I think, like I was saying to someone last night, this bottom end is going to really, really change the game on the conversion industry and those boys who are doing the CR500 AFs. Because the biggest issue with those CR500 AFs is the vibration. We've got one in here that's already probably 3-4 hours old, and it's already cracked the exhaust mount on the actual expansion chamber itself. So it's one of those things, like it's just going to change that space for the better, I reckon. Like I said, it's cool, you know, building stuff, making stuff, creating stuff. Funny actually seeing a lot of these 500s coming back, you know, like I remember 5-6 years ago, these things weren't worth 10 cents in the dollar. And now people are just still paying Not as big a money as they were, but definitely, you know, they're definitely holding a lot of value, which is cool. It's not so cool if, you know, you don't have that sort of budget available. It's one of those things. I reckon we need to give this thing a little birthday whilst we're pulling this apart. So we might get a few things zinc plated, maybe get the frame recoated, because it's just, we ride it, you know, like this is one of those CR500s that's ridden fairly regularly. You know, a lot of them just sit in living rooms and sheds and whatnot. People are a little bit nervous to ride them too, but the biggest thing with these is the idea of them fast. They're old now, so like they're not any faster than a 450. Like it's not like like I said, the idea of the CR500 is fast now. People will argue that. They're just iconic though, like, and that's the thing. I love the steel frame ones. I love the look of them. Like this is my dream motorcycle. I'm lucky enough to have it. I know, it's just one of those things. We are going to pop this engine into an alloy frame though. That's going to be cool to test as well. But I don't think it'll live in there full time. It'll definitely be coming out. Like that. Cool. So now we're starting to get into the nitty gritty of it. Probably going to change the tank back as well, I think, to the OEM one. We've got a relatively white OEM one, but this aftermarket one, the Kickstarter fails there and it's super annoying. So we'll get the tank off and then we'll start looking at getting the engine out, which will be good. As you know, we've got the engine out of the CR500, so that wasn't too bad. Just a basic engine removal as per usual. So now what we're going to do is we're going to strip the CR500 engine down and then start building up into the new cases, the BRC Counterbalance bottom end. We've all seen engine breakdown, so what we're going to do is we're going to time-lapse our way through this. We're going to get it all apart. We're going to run through what components come from this and what components are supplied by BRC, and then we should be able to start assembling this fairly straightforward. So the good thing about this CR500 engine that we've pulled out of the bike, it was rebuilt less than an hour and a half ago, so we don't have to, providing we don't find anything nasty, we actually don't have to rebuild it again. So standard piston, nice, the crank's all been rebuilt, everything's done. So we would literally just pull the pieces out, or the engine components out of it, and pop them straight into the new BRC cases. However, if you are doing this conversion and your engine isn't rebuilt, then I would highly recommend going through all the proper measurements and procedures and pistons and crank rebuilds and all that stuff while you've gone to all this effort to get it apart. All right, let's get into it. We'll start pulling this 500 down. So as you can see, we've got the engine all apart. It hasn't taken us long, probably about half an hour or so of just popping it all apart nicely. We haven't bagged anything up, obviously, because we're going straight back together. We've prepped the cases for the conversion on the BRC side of things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lay everything in. We're going to start fitting off the crank and the gearbox, get all that stuff in. We'll get the new counterbalance shaft fitted, get the cases together, and start assembling it. Like I said, we'll sort of highlight a few little bits and pieces as we go, but there isn't really a great deal much to it. It's a very, very well made conversion. So it's pretty much just like going back with an OEM rebuild, except for the counterbalance side of things. So we'll show you that when we get there, but let's hook in and we'll start getting this thing back together. All right guys, as you can see, that's the counterbalance. So that's the ignition side where the clutch goes. So as you can see, it just sits in there and it'll rotate around And what it is it times in with the crank, so it just offsets that vibration, as you can see. So it's essentially a big balanced weight that is driven by the crank. So it'll be interesting to actually ask Riley what the losses are driving this based on everything, but I'm sure he's probably put all that in consideration when it comes to gear ratios and whatnot, because you do have to change the drive gear off the crank and put a spacer on to work in with all of this stuff. So that's the first real big difference, as you can see, but we'll keep going now, putting this together. And then, yeah, like I said, it hasn't taken too long. So the conversion's been really good so far, but we'll just keep going and yeah, get it together. So as you can see, this is the new crankshaft gear, driven gear that goes on. So that meshes up with the other side of the counterbalance shaft, and that'll sort of times itself together there. And then that way it's all driven properly, then that goes onto the clutch basket and whatever else. So that's probably the last big change on it, next to the ignition system, which is a 250 ignition system. And then that's pretty much the introduction of the counterbalance on this engine here. So we're going to finish up putting all the clutch and driven side back together and the barrel on, and then we should almost be good to put it back in the bike and see what it does. Okay guys, as you can see, we've now finally got this CR500 back together. The installation side of it is fairly straightforward. It's very much the same as what anyone else would have shown you or you've seen, or any of that sort of stuff. It bolts straight back up like a stock bottom end. So what we're going to do now, we did have some issues, however, getting this thing going. Now, this being a prototype bottom end, there's all sorts of little bits and pieces we had to look for. Now, we had issues firing initially, and what that was is because we're running a hybrid ignition system. So we're running a CR250, an early 90s CR250 ignition system now. What we did have, we had a 96 CR250 CDI unit in it. We could not get it to fire. But what we realized is that there is a more aggressive stock map in the 96 CDI unit. So we went down to the CDI from a 92 CR250, and that actually has a far more linear approach to how it deals with the information coming from the flywheel and that stator. Once we put that on, fired straight up, and we had no real issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out now, we're going to show you what it's like, what it feels like, and how different it is. We're going to give it a quick run now, and then we're going to get Mitch Worrell onto this thing. We're going to get it on the track, and we're going to see what it's actually like going through the gears, over jumps, through ruts, bumps, turns, all that stuff, which is where this thing will really shine. So hopefully it takes that exhaustion factor from the rider out of the CR500 and makes it a much smoother thing to ride. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's a wrap on getting the BRC counterbalance bottom end into the CR500, and it's been pretty seamless other than figuring out the CDI compatibility issue we had with it, but that's no reflection, I don't think, on the actual product itself. I reckon that's more about the fact that it is a prototype and BRC are figuring out those little nuances. Next up, on the next episode, we've got Mitch Worrell from the BCP program. He's going to jump on this thing, he's going to ride it, and he's going to tell us exactly what he thinks and feels and how much different the Counterbalance CR500 is compared to a stock one. So stick around, check that out. We should have the next video up pretty shortly. If you're really liking what we're doing, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Turn on the bell. We really like to put this stuff together, but we need your support to do it. That's just so we can see that it's actually getting out there and people are enjoying it. So Don't forget to do that. And thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.